throughout. I think the first week I turned around after the showstopper and kind of saw how good everyone was, and then looked at mine and thought, how have I got here? And that kind of theme followed through.
But then that surely like an underdog.
Yeah, it did.
Actually, I'm going to get better throughout this.
Yeah, I think it made me kind of like really tune into the feedback that they was giving me and trying to embed that throughout. So that's probably why.
Could you feel yourself improving as the series went on?
Definitely, and I think also, like, kind of simultaneously, my confidence improved at the same time, and then that, like, little bit of belief in myself probably helped out as well.
What was your strength? Biscuits, cake, bread?
I think cake's my strength.
Cake.
I think cake, typically, if you start baking, that's probably where you start, isn't it? So that was what I knew most.
How did you start baking?
I've been asked this so many times since...
You don't know.
I attribute it to my nan.
Oh,
sweet. But, yeah, I would say, I think most people probably attribute it to like a grandparent or something that they maybe done with like their parents when they was growing up. So that's I'll give it to my nan.
Or the major lockdown baking boom.
Yeah, banana bread.
Everybody
all over the place, don't it? It's good.
Yeah, it's really good. I love a banana bread, even now.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for the latest papers, the latest opinions, and the latest jokes. So make sure you join us over the next hour to find out, why is Jamie Oliver being cancelled? How can a playground be offensive? And why won't Vanessa Feltz date you? I'm Josh Howie, and tonight's comedians are the ghosts of Christmas Past and Future, Jonathan Cogan and Lewis Schaefer. Get ready for headliners. We've got Monday's newspapers coming up in just a moment, but don't miss a second. Before tomorrow's news, though, here is tonight's headlines with Sophia Wensler.
Good evening. These are your headlines at 11 o'clock. To the US, where it's understood Donald Trump has held a phone conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the war in Ukraine. US media is reporting that Trump warned Putin not to escalate the conflict. It comes as Joe Biden is reportedly set to make a personal plea to Donald Trump about the importance of funding Ukraine. It's understood the outgoing president will urge Trump not to walk away from Ukraine when the pair meet in the Oval Office on Wednesday. Elsewhere, Israel's Prime Minister says he and Donald Trump see eye to eye on Iran. Benjamin Netanyahu said he has spoken to the US President-elect 3 times since the election. And back in the UK, Sir Keir Starmer will mark Armistice Day at a ceremony in Paris tomorrow, as Number 10 announced more than £10 million to mark VE and VJ Day in the UK next year. The Prime Minister will travel to the French capital tomorrow on the invitation of President Emmanuel Macron. It comes after the King led a 2-minute silence to mark Remembrance Sunday and honour fallen soldiers at 11 o'clock this morning. Big Ben chimed 11 times and the last post was played before King Charles, dressed in his Royal Navy uniform of the Admiral of the Fleet, laid a wreath at the cenotaph. He was joined by members of the royal family, including the Prince and Princess of Wales. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, and the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, both laid wreaths. They were also joined by former Prime Ministers. Today is also the first time since the start of the year that the Princess of Wales, who is recovering from cancer, is carrying out 2 consecutive days of public official engagements. 10,000 veterans have marched past the cenotaph as part of the Royal British Legion's parade. A man has died and 2 are in hospital after 3 people were stabbed at a London market. Police were called this morning to reports of a number of people stabbed in Woolworth. 3 people were found with injuries and 1 man died at the scene. Inquiries are underway to confirm his identity and inform his family. A man in his 60s was arrested at the scene and taken into police custody. The incident is not being treated as terrorism. And the Israeli government has told its citizens not to attend cultural or sports events abroad over the next week following violence in Amsterdam. It comes after Israeli football fans were attacked in the Dutch capital on Thursday following a match. Following the violence, a 3-day public protest ban was put in place. But today, dozens of pro-Palestinian demonstrators were detained by police after ignoring the ban. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered in the capital's Dam Square, chanting demands for an end to violence in Gaza and free Palestine. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners, your first look at tomorrow's top stories. Let's have a quick peek at what Jonathan and Lewis have got to work with on Monday's front pages. The Daily Mail. Labour. When will Labour give forces funds they need? The Daily Telegraph. Starmer plots to thwart Trump on Ukraine. The Times. PM heads to Paris to talk to Trump and tariffs. The Eye. Smash the gangs won't work. And finally, The Star. Trump knew Henry VIII. So, Jonathan, lots of juicy stuff there. Let's start with the Telegraph.
Yes, indeed. It's good to see you, Josh. It's good to be back. So let's crack on with the main story, I say. Let's just get straight into it. So, Starmer plots to thwart Trump on Ukraine. So, the PM and EU...
That's not the main story. That's not the main story. Anybody could see it's our Princess of Wales looking resplendent, and she's got 3 poppies. She's up in it on the poppy race there.
That's too many poppies.
Can you let him make his own decision what's the most important?
Well, I thought you were going to say the main story was sleek chic, the slinkiest dresses for party season. That's something I'm looking forward to seeing you at the GB News Bash.
Fine, sorry. You're right. Let's go to the third most important story.
Do we have to wear dresses at Burger King for our party? I don't know. Well, that's something to look forward to. So the main story, Starmer plots to thwart Trump on Ukraine. So the PM and EU leaders are to hold talks on boosting weaponry that's going to be given to the Ukraine before Trump takes office early next year. So it looks like preemptively Keir Starmer is looking to thwart Trump's plans, whatever they may be. So they're really making an almost like a Hail Mary last-minute push to try and arm Ukraine as much as possible before Trump comes in and possibly reduces financial help and weaponry donations and stuff like that. So it's a very tumultuous time to be a European, and I'm not really sure how it's going to go. But, it's sort of exciting. Maybe peace will come. That's what we all want, right? We all want resolution.
What do you think, Lewis? I mean, do you think this is kind of going to force Trump's hand a little bit? If they
forcing Trump's hand?
I mean, that these Storm Shadow missiles that they've basically been requesting for a long time now to be able to have permission, long-range missiles, to shoot into Russia to get to those arms depots. If they do give permission, then it will make a difference.
What about Stormy Daniels missiles?
I think the answer has been made. Donald Trump has been against this kind of thing, spending American money on a European war for like 45 years. I remember when I was at school in America and Donald Trump was talking against this. So this is... Starmer has no power over this. I think the British would be just lucky if Donald Trump didn't leave NATO to begin with.
I would argue that Starmer does have some influence over, certainly in what's going on in Ukraine, and certainly with Biden's administration. And you're right in terms of what's he going to say to Trump.
He doesn't have anything.
He's still got a couple. He's got a couple of months until he comes in.
He doesn't. Biden is a warmonger. The same thing with these.
Well, that's not the
globalists.
question. The question is, do you think they'll get the permission
to send the message?
So, Lewis, you think it's the industrial military complex versus putting one's country first? Do you think that's the debate we're having here?
That's the debate. It's Team MAGA, Team USA.
Do you think that Jonathan shouldn't be asking you questions and that's my job?
I think...
Well, Josh, I think I've been given a jacket. They made me wear a jacket. A button fell off. Lewis hit me.
All right.
Yeah.
It's Mark Dolan's jacket. I found a wrap in it. I don't know what's going on.
Let's talk about this pubs and restaurants story, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah, so the national insurance debacle. So pubs and restaurants told to suck it up over NI increases, which stands for National Insurance. I just Googled. So Britain's biggest pub chains and hotels and restaurants have been told to suck it up despite warning they'll they'll be forced to shut down because of the extra contributions they will need to make NI, thanks to our good friend Rachel Reeves. So the hospitality industry is really taking a hit. I feel like I'm doing a character with this jacket on, but it does seem to be a very tumultuous time, which is what
it makes you look somewhat
presentable. Yeah. I feel like a sellout.
Much better.
I don't know.
Look, Josh has killed himself to look good. He's shaved his head.
Yeah,
He does. Can I congratulate you on the...
Everybody's stepping up their game. Really, it was Lewis who started the arms race here.
Really?
Yeah.
Now
well, you got
Well, I'm opting out of the arms race. I'm doing a Trump. But basically...
I bring what I have to bring. I don't, you know, you don't have much of a talent. You just might as well look good.
That's fair enough. That's what we
So
go by.
really, when it comes to them saying they'll, suck it up, what they will do is just go, right, we've got to close.
Yeah, they will suck up all the business and stop selling us delicious Scotch eggs and pints.
Then we can't drink alcohol, and then we're going to revolt.
This is what happens when you have too much government meddling.
Well, it's too much taxes. I mean, but that's what the left is all about.
Throw the tea.
Taking the people's money, so they become orphans of the state.
But the good news is they did spend 100 million on a bat shed that is home to no bats.
Last week, crazy. Very depressing news also in the Daily Telegraph here about Le Creuset,
Le Creuset.
The Creuset, sorry, yeah.
For God's sake, Josh.
Good. Sorry, I'm not as posh as you.
Yeah.
But it turns out that they had a big sale this weekend and there were massive queues, and I'm gutted to hear about it. It would have been good.
Didn't get a £200 cast iron pan.
Yeah, let's go to the Times now, Lewis.
I use an iron frying pan that I don't wash.
But also, you don't cook meat anyway, do you?
No, I don't cook it, but
I should never have mentioned that.
You should have mentioned that. I cook the eggs to get rid of the white stuff.
No, you want the plastic non-stick, right? It's good for you.
No, very bad.
Not sure.
Anyway, so this is in the Times, which is, I think that it's £2.80 if you just go buy a thing. But you could pay £2 for a subscription in the Times. And PM heads for Paris. Or heads to Paris. We would say in America heads to Paris, but here it's for Paris. I don't know which is the right way to say.
I'm going to go with what the Times say.
But how can you believe them? It's the Times.
This is fake news.
He's on his way
fake grammar.
He's on his way to Paris to talk Trumps and tariffs because Trump is saying we're not going to take supporting Europe. Europe should be nice to America. We should be nice to America.
I mean, look, America first. But charging this 20% that they're talking about, that's going to put up prices back home. Now,
for us.
It's Donald Trump. It's just to scare people.
What it means is, with something like whiskey, when this happened in his last presidency, they lost £600 million in Scotland. So
from tax on whiskey or from business? Yeah.
Yeah, from loss of business.
Right. Okay.
So it's a problem here, and we don't really have any way to retaliate, do we?
Yes, we do.
Really? What? Do what?
Well, we don't have to sell them stuff.
We don't have any stuff to sell, Lewis.
Yes, exactly.
All we have is whiskey.
So maybe we should get rid of this Stormer administration and start making stuff again. And that's what needs to be done.
We can make tea and cars and, well, look, if we've got Kemi negotiating a new deal with Trump, one they already had before...
They had all set up in the previous Conservative... Obviously, Biden came in and immediately kiboshed it.
Yeah.
And...
We have a special relationship, Josh. It'll be fine.
We do. Do you think it's realistic?
Yes.
It's going to happen?
Trump loves us.
What about you, Lewis? You think we're going to get a free trade deal?
No, I think, we could. But I think what it's going to be, it's not going to be the way... You have to remember America. We've sucked up the world's stuff for... however many years, 50 years, 60. I don't know how long we've been sucking up their stuff.
I don't know how long we've been...
Donald Trump says we're fed up with it. So you can say, well, what do we have to sell? What do you have to sell? Let's make a deal.
OK, well, let's see. Right, we need to suck up more to America.
Yeah. Or suck up a little bit to America.
We'll get to that story, actually. There is also an important story here. Stay away from sports events in Britain. Israel warns its citizens.
Yeah, because of what happened in Amsterdam. And here, it's not that easy to be one of the chosen people. You're chosen for being beaten up or killed, or even worse. They tried to blame it on sports, whatever.
Yeah, this is a pre-planned, premeditated attack.
It's bad, but they hate us, and we hate them, but we're not out to kill them.
I don't think we hate them, personally. Well, I mean, Islamists I hate, but...
Yeah, I didn't say that we hate them.
Well, no, but they were...
Your eyes did. It was really, really in the eyes.
It's written, whatever it is. Well, they're mad at us because of Gaza, because of even before Gaza. I think there was a war fought even before there was a thing.
Before there was an Israel.
Before there was an Israel. And it's in the different book. So they're saying...
It's saying that Israelis should stay away from sports events, but if my PE class was anything to go by, Jews should just stay away from sports. It's not for us.
Yeah,
not for us.
I mean, there are serious implications beyond sports and beyond Israelis travelling, the attacking of Jewish events. We saw at the Jewish Cultural Centre in the UK. Protested just weeks ago. Old Jewish women had screamed out and crying as they went in. We've got the Jewish Film Festival coming up this week. And
that's just a film festival.
Well, it's a film festival, but in a serious note, the person who plans the film festival has did an article this week, basically where lots of cinemas are just refusing, they used to show this film festival at, are basically not getting back to him or saying they're booked or coming up with these excuses because they're frankly scared of having Jews there. And then you get a Jew-free zone, apart from headliners, which is particularly Jewy this
Too many.
Too many. Right, no, you can't have too many. Right, let's go on to the Daily Mail, Jonathan.
The Daily Mail. Let's just look at this top headline real quick. Sex, fashion, weight loss jabs. We have actually all started taking Ozempic. We're sort of doing this off camera, but we've all started taking Ozempic, and we want to see who can lose 3 stone first. I'm trying to get in the 50 kg club.
Who is the wee white boy? Who is that?
The wee white boy?
Yeah, who is wee?
Patrick Christie's?
Did you just call him white boy?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
White boy.
No, white boy. Isn't that
just
what
call
they
me a
say?
honky.
All right, let's go on to the story.
Isn't that like in the movie where the Indian guy goes, what are you talking about, white? Remember this says, you know, you're in trouble.
Am I allowed to interrupt you right now?
Yeah.
Great.
So
what's the story?
White boy.
Yeah, white boy. Sorry.
Thank you. The story is, when will Labour give forces funds they need? Fury of former...
I'm just going to interrupt you there. Please, I would appreciate if you act out the headline properly.
Okay.
It says very clearly there...
When will
Labour give... Please,
okay.
Please.
When will... Labour give forces funds they need. Fury of former top brass, as Reeves' deputy says, vital boost may not even come within 5 years. So these are, as we all know, quite turbulent times. I would say tensions are rising across Europe, and we want to make sure that our armed forces are funded properly, especially when we're giving £50 million to BATS or whatever it is, just to keep them...
100 million.
100 million.
Yeah. Well, this also, Lewis, ties into the 2.5% of spending that is required for NATO members. Now that Trump's come back... Is it likely that the funding is going to go up?
Everything is on the table, and I think if Donald Trump lives, I think he could die from. He's like, oh no, you got to take that into account. But I think a lot of American people, including myself, are saying...
But you're Canadian.
Yeah, everyone should participate by putting in the money they're putting in. So what happens if America says, you know, we're not part of NATO anymore, you're on your own?
Let's very quickly, got 2 more papers.
Am I right, Josh?
Yes, of course you are. So be right about the next one, the iNews. Let's do that one in a minute.
iNews. Smash the gangs won't work. That's the plan of the Keir Starmer. Verdict from Home Office officials on Labour small boats plan. And this is in the I, which I don't, you know, it does a lot of news in the I. It's quite good. It should have a longer name.
Why don't we talk about this news?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does matter.
Think that people
yes, of course they do. That's the whole point. They are here to hear about...
OK, not to go on a tangent, there's a little box up here that says, foods to eat healthy for weight loss. Do you know anything?
Really obsessed with this stupid diet.
Do you know anything about that?
OK, this is a big story. The interesting things here, number one is it does highlight how this is a key part of the government agenda. At least they're saying they want to cut down on it. But the fact that the Home Office has basically come out and said it's not going to work, which is what a lot of people did say, and say, well, we need some sort of deterrent, this is slightly damning early on.
But this is like a scene from Yes, Minister, where the ministers have like a control over the government, which is out of their remit. They shouldn't be telling the Prime Minister whether you like the guy or not.
The blob.
He can't do his thing. But he is right, because they're talking about these boats, like they got the boat smugglers that am I right? That no one would come on those boats.
They could stop it if they wanted to.
The truth is that it's a good deal to come to Britain.
You know Mexico, they got all those gangs, like the really violent militia gangs, and they're all in prison now. They just got a little army together. They could easily stop it.
OK, great. So just import lots of Mexicans. Right, very quickly before we move on, let's go to the Daily Star. Do this one in 30 seconds, please.
Trump knew Henry VIII. So Star Lewis hints, orange man baby like cruel king. So they're saying...
Damian Lewis.
Damian Lewis. They're saying Trump is very impulsive and he could be authoritarian, and they're saying he's basically going to be the new Henry VIII.
His wives are alive, though. his
For
exes.
now, yeah. Do you reckon he's bedded more than 6 women?
Lewis, isn't this just another actor just being incredibly annoying and stupid, and we need to stop listening to them at all?
Well, that's why there's a headline. You know, they don't call me up and ask what I think about it. But the truth is that Donald Trump is one of the greatest politicians of our era, maybe even the greatest. He's the most he's the most well-known man in the world. So, yeah.
Henry VIII was the king. Right, still to come, the results are finally in. Who has won the US election? And who might get a second state visit? I'll give you a clue, it's the same person. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
On the 8th of October at Battersea Arts Centre, a new orchestra launched its inaugural season. The orchestra, which is named Chromatica, is formed of some of the best young musicians in Britain. They're due to perform in traditional venues and in community spaces. The aim is to bring their youth and dynamism to a wide repertoire of music. Predominantly, they'll work with emerging conductors who will have the chance to shape the orchestra and its repertoire. To share her experiences of bringing the ensemble together, I'm joined by the violinist and Chromatica Orchestra lead, Maren Bosma. To what extent is this novel? To what extent is this new ground?
Well, new ground, it is new ground in a sense that this is a completely new orchestra. Obviously, in the current sort of cultural climate, it's not really easy to set up a new orchestra. And so, in that sense, it's a novelty for us to kind of try and carve out our space in the current climate of musical orchestras and musicians in Britain.
Yes, I mean, it's quite odd in a way to think of a new orchestra because the ones that we have tend to be struggling and numbers indeed have been reduced. I used to be associated with an orchestra which unfortunately went under. You've got some private backing for this.
Yeah.
Why do you think the private backers have been willing to give you support? What is it that they see as your unique selling proposition?
Well, Chromatica Orchestra essentially is an early career orchestra. So we're formed of all sort of top musicians who've graduated in, say, the last sort of 5 to 10 years. Because everyone is of that generation, there is a sort of enthusiasm and dynamism that we bring to the stage I think is quite unique. The orchestra's mission, it's really focused on creating opportunities for young emerging musicians.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Nightmare commute? Kick it up a gear with GB News Radio. You can listen online and on DAB+ and on the GB News app. We're also on TuneIn and the Radio Player apps. From the school run to rush hour, get revved up with GB News Radio. We are the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Josh Howie, and joining me trying to make up a minion is Jonathan Cogan and Lewis Schaefer. Very apt link there for a little tweet that you got in the show, Lewis.
Octagon 1975 says.
Says, what are we? We're GB Jews.
GB
This is the Jew special tonight. Wonderful. Jonathan, we can warm ourselves up with Monday's Guardian, and if we get too hot, we can always cool ourselves in their tears.
No, the Botox has rendered their tear ducts barren. There's no crying at the Guardian. Trump wins Arizona to clinch sweep of 7 battleground states.
I thought he already won.
Yes, but it takes, how long, a week? How long's it been now?
Yeah, it's been about a week,
Yes, well, I mean, the results have just come in for reasons I don't understand. Maybe Joe Biden was doing the counting or something. For reasons I don't understand, we've just got the Arizona election results in, and would you believe it, Donald Trump has won.
Wow.
In Arizona.
In Arizona.
But the governor...
Just interrupted him.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
I've learned from you. We got to fight for every word around you, Joe.
Lewis, do you have something to say about the governor?
Is that a senator, one of the senators, the governor, Kerry Lake, did not win. And so it was a Democratic senator or governor. But the thing is that last time they had the elections, it took like a long time for the results to come in, and every state in America said we're going to do something about it. And 49 did well, maybe 48 did well, but California and Arizona have done badly with the results.
It's very definitive now. It's, what is it, 306 to 232. No, it's even more than that, isn't it?
312.
312, yeah. Oh, sorry, yes, 312 to 226. Plus, they've won the popular vote. Are the Republicans going to be contesting this election, do you think?
Contesting?
Yes. Do you think they're going to be taking them to court and saying that these results...
You mean the Democrats?
No, the
Democrats.
Republicans.
Oh, you're blaming the Republicans?
No, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just...
Well, you know what? Basically, they won by such a large amount, relatively, that they don't need to.
This is it.
But that's why you should win by a big amount. But in the last election, there were like 10 or 15 million extra voters that have somehow disappeared.
They got raptured.
And this was one of the biggest elections in the history. This one here has gotten everyone's attention. So that doesn't mean there wasn't cheating going on. There was cheating. There was suppression. There was all those.
You voted 17 times.
Yeah, all from abroad. But there are protests.
That's what I was going to say. That's worrying. Like, you don't have to like the man. You don't have to vote for him. You could be sad that he won. But what are you protesting? Because if he was democratically elected, you're literally protesting the foundational values of your country.
Well, that's what the Democrats, quote-unquote Democrats, Democratic Party, are doing, is they're saying there's something wrong here. Meanwhile, they
just like a protest.
They protested in 2000, 2016. They cheated in 2000, in 1960. The Kennedy. This is what am I making this
You've got a lot of memory. Well, in fact, that very much links to the next story.
Yeah.
Because Daily Mail next, Lewis... is this where we're going to have you protesting now?
What, Kemi Badenoch?
No, Donald Trump, 7.5.
Oh, 7.5. Was I given?
You're seeing how the sausage is made.
Yeah, Donald Trump could be offered a second state visit to the UK because of a change in the monarch in The Guardian. And it's like, it's not a big deal. If Donald Trump wants to come, you let the guy come. He's the president of the United States.
I'm not saying, but there's a difference between him wanting to come and being invited, which is exceptionally rare, if ever.
If ever. You know what it is? England has to wake up and realize they're not... Actually, I'm being negative now because you made me negative, Josh, because I hate you. Is that... And the people can tell that I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I like you off stage. You're fantastic, but here you're just nothing but hell to me. The truth is that big deal. You'd want the guy to come, so he meets the king, big deal. So he doesn't meet the king, big deal. He's Donald Trump. You let him come. It's very important that he not get angry because he's got 1 million nuclear weapons and 11 aircraft carriers.
So the excuse for this is that we have a different monarch now. There's also different government.
It was Theresa May when he was last here. How many have we been through since?
What, prime ministers?
Yeah.
About 10. So do you think that he should be... I mean, this is a good opportunity for us to suck up. That's what we have, isn't it? That's our main selling point.
We don't want tariffs.
Meet the king.
You know, have him come over, tell you some stories.
Do you think he should be invited to address Parliament, which he wasn't last time?
Yeah, I think that could be funny. I think he gets some zingers in there. If he needs a joke writer,
I can't imagine him in Parliament. It's just the two don't sort of fit him.
Yeah, one's very kind of proper English.
You can imagine him in Parliament, but you can imagine like half of the Parliament at least are just going to make complete idiots of themselves the same way. Nancy Pelosi ripped his speech up at one of the earliest speeches that he had to give in front of the whatchamacallit. So let the guy.
All right, Lewis. According to the left, this Telegraph story means it's now OK to hunt down and identify and run over random Catholics in Glasgow.
Yeah, well, this has to do with football. The Celtics, or they call it Celtics in this country.
Celtics?
In America, we got
Celtics.
Celtics, but that's I think that's a basketball team in Boston. Celtic fans sing pro-IRA songs as Remembrance Sunday tribute scrapped after 9 seconds. They're in Glasgow, and half the population hate, and they hate the royal family. The other people hate the royal. There's a lot of hatred in Scotland for the British.
By the way, this is arguably a minority part of the team. This isn't the whole of...
Which minority?
Well, it's just some Celtic fans.
Yes, not the whole... you can't tar the...
Well, you can, but we've got to get everybody on board. Louis Schaefer is a spokesman for the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, the Celtics, the Celtics.
The Yankees?
Does this upset you, though, this disrespect?
No, it doesn't. Because the king, I'm sorry, I know you guys love the royal family, but the truth is King Charles, he's in the pockets of the World Economic Forum, the United Nations.
Well, that's not really got anything to do with the story.
It does. Why should we cheer? I mean, it's not my business. I'm not here permanently.
Okay, Jonathan, the reason for doing this story is there's a sort of highlights the hypocrisy where these was used as excuses, the bad behaviour of a small contingent of the Israeli fans.
Absolutely.
And then suddenly that was okay that this pre-planned attack went forward. But of course now, according to the rules of the left, of the people like Owen Jones that have somehow justified this, they called a Jew hunt in Amsterdam. And now it's like, so now it's okay to hunt down Catholics in Glasgow? Of course it's not.
Absolutely not. And that's a hypocrisy. And I'm sure, well, I mean, a lot of the pro-Palestinian protesters here were the ones breaking the silence. So, and like you say, it was those Israeli football fans who allegedly did a similar thing. So, yeah, there's absolutely no call for violence here, nor should there be.
Everywhere. Of course, Jews are held to
We are
anyone who likes football.
We're in a wartime right now. People are in heightened. You can tell by your attitude, my attitude. People are in heightened states of awareness and upset. And these are things that are going to happen. I mean, the truth is, you got to tell people if you're going to support.
You were explaining the lyrics of Helter Skelter, saying that there's a race war coming, and I found that quite scary. I didn't enjoy that.
It wasn't. It was just about a guy going down a.
Okay, well, I am at war, but it's with you, Lewis. Right, we're halfway, but still plenty more to come. Find out which chef is getting cancelled and what is so controversial about a planned Labour playground. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It's been another cloudy day for many of us, but there is some bluer skies and some brighter weather on the horizon as we head into the new working week. We do still have a weather front to contend with through the rest of today, though, continuing to slip its way southwards across the UK through the end of the weekend. And then it's this area of high pressure developing out towards the west that brings us those sunnier skies into next week. So this weather front out in the south of the UK continues to sink its way southwards, still bringing some cloudy skies and some outbreaks of rain to the southern portion of the UK overnight and into the early hours of Monday morning. But further north, a different story. Plenty of clear spells and turning quite chilly under those clear spells too. We could see temperatures dropping into the low single figures. But generally staying that little bit milder under that cloud in the very far south of the UK. And that does mean quite a cloudy and damp start, particularly for southwestern parts of England through Monday morning, with some outbreaks of rain and drizzle across the hills. For the rest of England and Wales, though, generally a dry and bright start to the morning. For Northern Ireland, still staying dry, but perhaps a bit of mist and fog around to start first thing. And for Scotland, also a dry and bright start to the morning, although maybe one or two isolated showers across parts of Shetland and Orkney first thing. So generally staying dry and bright through much of Monday morning, plenty of sunshine on offer. That weather front does eventually sink its way southwards across the southwest of the UK, so plenty of sunshine across the board as we head in towards Monday afternoon. There might be one or two isolated showers just across eastern parts of England, but these generally quite light and quite scattered. And despite temperatures being round about average for the time of year, it will be feeling pleasant in any of that sunshine. The sunshine continues through the rest of Monday and staying dry and clear overnight. So that does mean quite a chilly start for most of us on Tuesday morning, maybe some mist and fog around, but otherwise another dry day across the board. Plenty of sunny spells on offer. Maybe one or two isolated showers still clipping across the very far southeast, but there should be more sunshine on the way as we head through Wednesday and Thursday as well. And temperatures will generally be staying around about average, but definitely feeling pleasant in the sunshine.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Let's be honest, you can never have too many Jews. Top panel tonight. That's what someone said on Your Say.
Don't speak for me. I'm Italian.
All right, fine. Well, look, before we get back into the stories, let's have a quick recap of the front pages. Daily Mail. Labour. When will Labour give forces funds they need? Daily Telegraph. Starmer plots to thwart Trump on Ukraine. The Times. PM heads to Paris to talk Trump and tariffs. The Eye. Smash the gangs won't work. And finally, The Star. Trump knew Henry VIII. Right, we're going to get straight into Monday's Independent, Lewis, and I'm just relieved that people are finally seeing Jamie Oliver for how he really is.
I didn't realize he wrote books, but he wrote a book, and not just a cookbook. Jamie Oliver's children's book pulled from shelves amid controversy over depiction of First Nation Australians. Those are like, what do we...
That's what we used to call them Aborigines.
Yeah, but I guess
Can we not call it anymore? We're not allowed to say that?
I think it's okay. I got called white boy.
That's true. Okay.
I didn't mean it that way. I meant it in a nice way.
I'm not white. People on Twitter tell me I'm not white.
Lewis,
all the time.
I'm not sure that Jamie Oliver. I mean, he might write these books, or he might have a ghostwriter. I don't know.
I am
don't
going
give
to
away secrets.
I met the guy in the street like 25 years ago.
What do you think? Do you think he would write a children's book?
He seemed quite busy with a large group of people surrounding him, and he was like 25 years ago. So how old was he? He's probably maybe 25 years old.
I worked for his company, Fresh One, for a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's pictures of him everywhere.
So using that information, do you think that he wrote this children's book by himself?
I'm sure he had a team. It's probably ChatGPT'd it, if I'm honest. But the issue... Sorry, Lewis. The issue is... Well, is that he said all First Nations people have super-duper psychic powers, which I thought was a cool thing, but apparently that is culturally insensitive, and you shouldn't stereotype a people as having telekinetic voodoo abilities. Apparently that is wrong, but look...
Unless they do.
Unless they do. Everyone has psychic powers.
Or maybe unless they don't.
Well, in Aboriginal culture, or First Nation Australians, there is a connection to the dream force or...
The dream time.
Dream time, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all cultures have a spiritual tradition with the spiritual world. And
anyway, what I'm surprised actually about in this is that the publishers didn't pick it up, because now you have these sensitivity readers, and I'm surprised it was made and no one
got through.
Yeah.
Well, the sensitivity readers have ruined a bunch of my favourite childhood books. Like, they even did it with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So, like, the Oompa Loompas, instead of being short orange savages, they're now described as Essex girls. So they've kind of ruined the whole thing. They've just done the whole thing wrong. And and even Augustus Gloop, instead of being described as like enormously fat and disgusting, he's now described as an Essex girl. So moving on to the next story, it's...
No. We're still on this story.
Anyway,
We should let him do his job. Can I just make one point in here?
Please.
And then he apologized wholeheartedly because he felt devastated, because he didn't try and meet the court. He's trying to sell a book. He's not... And people...
He needs money.
He needs money. But the point is, never apologize. You can't win by apologizing nowadays. They won't accept your apology as a worthy apology.
Well, yeah, but he says that these books are made for dyslexic people like himself. He's carefully chosen the font. I imagine that is pretty much that sums up all of his...
And his next book's about a Jewish kid who's a really good accountant, so I'm looking forward to reading that.
There's only two letters the guy... When you get caught in a situation like this where other people seem to be... I don't know whether it's true or not, seem to be acting in a crazy way, is the letter U and the letter...
Yeah, because you interrupted me, I didn't get to do my job.
Oh, sorry, do it.
4 words per page, but that's absolutely fine. I don't mind you interrupting me.
That's all right.
Coke and the Times has a story for their future journalists.
So yes, the story in the Times. So Edinburgh University issues warning telling students not to be snobs. So students from privileged backgrounds attending the University of Edinburgh are being told to stop acting like, in quotes, boorish snobs and refrain from ridiculing the accents of their state-educated classmates. You had a lot of friends who went to Edinburgh. Are they snobs?
Absolutely.
They are?
They were basically...
But it's not even a good uni.
The people who go to Edinburgh are the posh kids who were too thick to go to Oxbridge.
I thought it was Bristol.
No, that's it. Edinburgh first, then Bristol.
OK, I went to Nottingham. What am I?
There's no problems there.
No posh
there.
Yeah, Nottingham is...
This is...
had some fun.
It's interesting because I would argue that class plays a much greater role in this country than other issues that have traditionally been pushed in this angle.
Well, if they were such a classy place, they wouldn't tell people... It's kind of rude to tell people don't act so posh.
That's true.
And number one. Number two, my ex-wife went to Edinburgh, and she was like... She wasn't that posh, so she...
No, she wasn't very choosy.
Acted posh. The truth is that this country has like this tier system of universities. If you're not in Oxford or Cambridge, you're not anywhere.
Well, no, but then the posh people have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, which
they tend to go to Edinburgh or Durham.
And everybody knows they went to a second-grade school, even though it's a very.
So you think that because of that, they should be allowed to be posh, really? Because
no, everyone should be equally mocked for going to Edinburgh.
What?
Everyone should be equally mocked. If somebody mocks you for being common as Market says here, then just make fun of them for being raw.
But let me say what you just said, Josh, is right. They should give him something. Let him walk around as posh. I could only use the other word, word. Let him act in a bad way.
So this is a group called the Scottish Social Mobility Society, SSMS, and they
one guy.
They text each other about meetings. That's an unfortunate acronym.
Oh, they made fun of me today. Write that one down.
There's a very tiny proportion of actual Scottish people who tend to go to these universities. That's the
well, it's free for them.
That's it, but that's why the universities don't want to let in Scottish people, because then they have to pay.
It'd be a lot easier.
There is one.
It'd be a lot
quick
easier.
Quote.
Just to anybody who goes into the school for the first time, you give them a little note saying, just please bear with us. We got a lot of
little posh idiots.
Posh idiots, right? That was the word. That posh idiots here.
What do you want to say, Matt?
There's a quick quote here from one of the guys saying, people would constantly say stuff about the Scots drinking too much and being quick-tempered and rebellious. When I was 18 or 19, I just put up with it. But I'm not going to stay quiet any longer. I'm angry, drunk, and feeling quite rebellious. So.
That's a slight embellishment at the end of that quote. Well. Guardian next. Lewis, please tell us how they've literally done a 180-degree switch on what Trump actually said.
Yeah, I don't know, because I didn't read the whole thing. Because no, I'm going to admit it, because it's the Guardian and it's garbage.
You paid, right?
And it's... I'll read it now.
Quite long.
Yeah. Trump's wild threats put press freedoms in crosshairs in his second term. And it's absolutely, who's been trying to bother Trump? Who's put him on trial twice, two impeachments, four legal charges against him, two assassination attempts.
That's the legal system, yeah.
Yes, and that's part of the free press and everything, is that you can't believe anything the Guardian says. You should keep them in business, because then it would be unseemly.
Well, this is definitely a sort of one of those made-up articles, as Lewis would say. This is sort of a non-story.
Yeah,
but it's interesting that they've gone for this, because did you see the clip that Trump put out about free speech? He's been very emphatic, and he's just said, this is a massive priority for me. I am going to ensure that, and what he's talking about here is that the fake element of it, and that's
them, the Guardian.
Which is because when CNN did their interview, their 60 Minutes, and they deliberately showed
the wrong answer.
The wrong answer. That's lies.
Yeah.
Free speech is not the same as having the freedom to lie, basically, and present that as
on
truth to the American people.
On the state media, and that's what it is. It's licensed by the state, because it's on a major. These are on major channels.
You're telling me it's the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party?
I'm saying yes, it is. In the same way, the BBC is the propaganda arm of the state.
Well, the reality is that the Guardian's been guilty of putting out fake news. Everybody is. I mean, people make mistakes, but the question is also to what they actually leave out. And the idea here that they've sort of come in with this story, and they've sort of picked a university person here, and they've picked one comment that he made 8 years ago there.
Yeah.
And the Guardian, all of a sudden, pretending to be the champions of free speech. Or I bet you could find a million articles where they try
Guardian, maybe write an article about, allowing women to be in their own sports and spaces. Right, the Mail now, Jonathan, with its regular government spacking tax money on the war. Woke nonsense.
Woke nonsense. Keir Starmer's charisma lesson. So fury as farming civil servants get time off to take part in woke training sessions on how to talk to each other on their lunch breaks, I should say. So civil servants in the crisis-hit farming sector have been taken off regular frontline duties in a very important time to take part in training exercises in which they are basically told how to be nice to each other, not to do microaggressions, not to upset each other's, not to be boorish snobs and make fun of Scots for going to university in Edinburgh. And even the Blob now are being annoyed by this. They're saying it's a waste of time. They're saying it's frivolous, woke nonsense.
What I was hoping was that we could do a little act out. Lewis, if you turn over the page, there's some characters here that they're forced to act out as. Ben, there's Aisha, and she's talking to Ben. So could you be Aisha?
Yeah.
And you would mind being Ben, okay? And I'll be Carlos.
I would mind, because you don't know if you're going to bother somebody from this who are acting out.
All right, well, you act out. I'll do it with you.
No, I don't think he
Hey, Ben.
either.
Hey, Ben, yeah?
Okay, hey, Ben, you're always eating salad. Are you trying to lose weight or something? What's that in your pocket? Are you excited to see me?
Carlos then chips in. I'm going to make him Spanish. If only I ate salad, I'd probably feel miserable. I need my carbs.
Aisha continues, you're a chubby little bitch, aren't you?
Yeah, you can't control yourself, Jonathan. You take it too far. This is the problem. We probably do need a little bit of this role-playing here because you take it way too far.
I'll show you the role-playing.
I apologise for the use of that language. We will be calling HR and we will be doing this particular role-playing.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yes, right. What's the easy, inappropriate joke I could have made about you in this Telegraph article, Lewis?
That I was hanging out at the playground, I guess.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you accused me of it, and this is totally not the case.
I accuse you based on facts. But anyway, yeah.
Anyway, Labour Council criticised for planning children's park area for girls, just quote-unquote girls, to sit and chat like they're going to... And this is actually a non-story because it didn't happen, basically.
Well, it did happen. They made the playground.
No, they made a play, but they didn't say... They didn't say if this is going to be a girls' park.
They specifically did. That's the whole point of the story.
What they said is we're going to be more open because it's not just boys who play.
They printed it out and had a sign with a girl on her mobile phone saying, this is the area for you.
Right, but did it say girls' play area?
Yes.
No, it did not.
It did, and it was specifically designed by this organisation because they said, Caroline Miller, chairman of trustees at a charity, say, make space for girls, and this was part of their plan, I imagine, creating a space that acknowledges many girls want something different.
And the council, which is Brighton and Hove, which sounds like it could come out of there, said, this is not just providing modern equipment, but creating a welcoming environment for women, for people of all ages. We have taken advice from a range of charities, not just this charity.
What do you think about this idea of having a space just for girls to be girls? Some people are very offended because they're saying, well, look, does that exclude them from the more physical activities?
Women be talking. There's one thing I know, it's women be talking. And if they want to provide a space for girls to make a podcast on the playground, they could call it Where's My Daddy? That's quite good. Call her daddy. I don't know. Read a book.
Yeah, no.
No, what do I think? Look, girls can play rough, boys can chat. There's no reason to distinguish it. But at the same time, I do think young boys and young girls have slightly different patterns of play, and that might involve more talking.
Absolutely. And, you know, when I've got a funny video of my kids in a playground. My boys, the 4 boys, they were just all beating each other up. And then I swing around the camera to my daughter, and she's just talking to a little baby, and you know, boys and girls are different, right? But that
you have to have a separate area for people to talk. You don't need that.
Well, you do in my son's.
Can I just say how great Jonathan looks?
Yes.
I don't know. My button came off.
Yeah.
I feel fat.
Okay, still more goodies to come. How old is too old for Vanessa Feltz to date? And find out
15.
What happens if you die in a dream. That'll keep you up. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
In 2020, after almost 80 years, Oxford University's Pitt Rivers Museum removed its famous collection of shrunken heads with sewn-up lips and eyes made by the South American Shuar and Ashwar people. How do museums decide what should be shown and what should be confined to storage? Can controversial exhibits be left on display with suitable contextualisation in captions? Who would want to be a curator facing such controversial questions? For review, I'm delighted to be joined by journalist Eitan Smallman. Welcome to GB News. I think many people, when they hear that we're going to discuss museums or art galleries, think that it's going to be, that wokery question. But it strikes me, and I think it strikes you too, that this is not just about wokery at all. There are some really interesting ethical questions here. For example, let's start with this one, and there are several examples of it. Should we be displaying human bodies, the remains of human beings? Should we be displaying them in museums?
Absolutely. It's not just the usual suspects, young snowflakes, who are objecting to these things. They're just naturally cultural shifts, and people of all ages and all political persuasions may feel uneasy about displaying human remains of any kind, especially human remains that have been taken against the will of the communities or taken violently. Hilary Mantel led a campaign to remove a 7-foot 7-inch skeleton of Charles Byrne, known as the Irish Giant, from the Hunterian Museum. He had specifically said that he didn't want to be displayed and didn't want to be taken by anatomists, and yet was displayed for a couple of hundred years until a couple of years ago. He hasn't had the burial he requested, but he's no longer on public display.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Let's kick off with Monday's Guardian, Jonathan. And does it make a difference if I tell you I just wrote this link?
Well, apparently so. So, missed deadlines lead people to judge work more harshly, a study says. So, scientists studying the psychology of people who leave things to the last minute have found that when work is submitted late, the people getting it, whether that's an employer or a co-worker, judges it more harshly and is generally less happy with the work. So, this probably ties into some kind of psychological heuristic where the fact the person is giving it to you late, maybe you see them as untrustworthy or not hardworking, and then I'm being so serious.
No, and also you use the word heuristic.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Impressive. Yeah, I have no idea.
I read it in a Christmas cracker.
It's a myastic.
What do you think?
It just says get the stuff in even if it's rubbish rather than wait.
That's what it says here.
I guess if you miss an anniversary...
It's a long article.
But you don't get a boost if you get it in early. That's the important thing. So just get it in on time is essentially it.
And even if it's not good, just get it in on time.
There we go. Right, let's move on to the next one. Express next. And Lewis, Vanessa has obviously never met you, our resident sex bomb.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not going to attack Vanessa Feltz. She says men aren't fanciable past 55 years old, and that's me. I've just turned 55 this year. So why young bachelors are superior? And I think, she's like, I don't know how old she is. I think she's in her 60s. I think she's 62.
62, yeah.
That's a woman's prime age, isn't it?
Yeah. But the fact is, everyone is beautiful in their own way.
Which is why you only date younger women, right?
Would you stop mentioning that?
Okay, sorry. What about you?
Well, Vanessa apparently has been dating a lot. She's been out every night, enjoying herself, but she's found herself in a dating vortex, which is, I think, what her ex called her. Well, never mind. But so she's getting laid left, right, and centre.
No,
good for her.
She's in a vortex.
No, she's not.
No, they're in her vortex.
They're in her vortex.
Yeah.
She's sucking those young dudes in. She says,
Pardon
Lord,
me?
show me a woman who wouldn't rather be pursued by a sweet-smelling youth.
Well, she said it's just like the national insurance boost. She just has to suck it up.
Jonathan, this could be your latest.
No, do you know what it is? It has to do with women. Men are not getting what they want to get, so they rather go out with an older woman who is not going to give them the hard time that the younger woman.
Women be talking.
OK, on to the mail now. Jonathan, I hope your next gig isn't a dream.
Yes, true, because I don't want to die, as that's your joke.
Yeah.
Scientists reveal the grisly truth about what happens if you die in a dream. So, if you die in a dream, experts say that although you might not, meet a bloody end where you're crushed by one of your mum's giant shoes, I don't know what you guys dream about, not me, you could actually die in your dream because having so much cortisol from the nightmare could give you a heart attack. So that's something to think about. But also you can have, excuse the term, wet dreams that are so erotic you can get pregnant.
That is not true.
It's literally in the article. It's in the article.
He's got a This is the first time Lewis has stepped up to say medically something.
And you know what? I'm listening to him. I'm saying, my God, my Jonathan's getting way too serious, and then he comes up with that thing. This is you can't believe that an article like this. It basically said that diabetes is caused by having bad dreams. It's the other way around. Is that high carb levels causes intellectual distress? They say that diabetes.
I had a nightmare about you, Lewis, weirdly. The Mail has...
Are you cutting me off?
Yes, I am, because we're going to do one more story.
Why?
It's an excuse for us to prove how manly we are, Lewis. They want to finish on this story.
Why? Why do we have to finish
because
on
this is a great story to finish on.
I want to just say that this is an image of my grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
Who fought in World War II, and today is Armistice
Well, we
Day.
were planning to do push-ups. Now no one gets to see you doing push-ups.
I don't know whether he did push-ups back in the day. He was a super handsome guy.
Handsome dude.
He was a truck driver, a lorry driver back in France. And he was defending Europe. And that's why we should... And my father was in World War II.
And yes, exactly. And I'd like to say shout out to my grandfather
and you should text me, whatever it is, on... This is my Google thing.
Okay, we'll do push-ups another day. The show's nearly over. Let's take another quick look at Monday's front pages. The Daily Mail, Labour. When will Labour give forces funds they need? The Daily Telegraph, Starmer plots to thwart Trump on Ukraine. The Times, PM heads to Paris to talk Trump and tariffs. The Eye, smash the gangs won't work. And finally, The Star, Trump knew Henry VIII. That is it for tonight's show. Thank you very much to my guests, Jonathan and Lewis. Cressida will be here hosting tomorrow night at 11 p.m. with Bruce Devlin and Leo Kearse. And if you're watching at 5 a.m., then stay tuned for breakfast. Thank you.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It's been another cloudy day for many of us, but there is some bluer skies and some brighter weather on the horizon as we head into the new working week. We do still have a weather front to contend with through the rest of today, though, continuing to slip its way southwards across the UK through the end of the weekend. And then it's this area of high pressure developing out towards the west that brings us those sunnier skies into next week. So this weather front out in the south of the UK continues to sink its way southwards, still bringing some cloudy skies and some outbreaks of rain to the southern portion of the UK overnight and into the early hours of Monday morning. But further north, a different story. Plenty of clear spells and turning quite chilly under those clear spells too. We could see temperatures dropping into the low single figures. But generally staying that little bit milder under that cloud in the very far south of the UK. And that does mean quite a cloudy and damp start, particularly for southwestern parts of England through Monday morning, with some outbreaks of rain and drizzle across the hills. For the rest of England and Wales, though, generally a dry and bright start to the morning. For Northern Ireland, still staying dry, but perhaps a bit of mist and fog around to start first thing. And for Scotland, also a dry and bright start to the morning, although maybe one or two isolated showers across parts of Shetland and Orkney first thing. So generally staying dry and bright through much of Monday morning, plenty of sunshine on offer. That weather front does eventually sink its way southwards across the southwest of the UK, so plenty of sunshine across the board as we head in towards Monday afternoon. There might be one or two isolated showers just across eastern parts of England, but these generally quite light and quite scattered. And despite temperatures being round about average for the time of year, it will be feeling pleasant in any of that sunshine. The sunshine continues through the rest of Monday and staying dry and clear overnight. So that does mean quite a chilly start for most of us on Tuesday morning, maybe some mist and fog around, but otherwise another dry day across the board. Plenty of sunny spells on offer. Maybe one or two isolated showers still clipping across the very far southeast, but there should be more sunshine on the way as we head through Wednesday and Thursday as well. And temperatures will generally be staying around about average, but definitely feeling pleasant in the sunshine.
We can expect clear skies, leading to a light and warm day ahead. Lovely. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
There's only 2 weeks remaining to win Christmas on Us this year. First, we'll give you £20,025 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you £5,000 to spend on all of your Christmas presents, with a further £500 in vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. You'll get it all in time for the big day. For another chance to win, call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. You can enter online at gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2, or post your name and number to GB